And we're live. Everyone, thank you for coming to the conversation this evening. Last player panel call before we all get to say goodbye a little bit for the upcoming spring season. Topic that I am so pumped to be able to talk about because I think it's going to be one that is going to really help shed some positive light on what life is like within the club lacrosse scene and sector. Clearly, every program is built a little bit differently, depending on the level, the school, the commitment from both player and coaching staff. So there's a slew of variables that go into this. So not every program is made the same, but there are a lot of similarities that I think we're going to be in a position to really go over in our conversation tonight. We got 4 of Wisconsin's finest that are here that are all taking advantage of a club opportunity. All 4 of them, I'm well aware of, had opportunities to play at the NCAA level, passed up onset opportunities because they put other variables ahead of the ability to say, like, I am a collegiate athlete. In my opinion, I still look at them as collegiate athletes just like anybody else would. And I'm sure they hold themselves to that same standard and stature as well, too. So let's kick it off with a couple intros. And I'm going to go left to right here. First off, we got Mr. Caleb Galecki, former West Bend hero, Notre Dame alum.
St. Mary Springs.
That's always on. Sorry about that. But St. Mary Springs alum, currently a defender at Liberty University, also a part of that 2024 class from Wisconsin, as you've had the chance to hear from several of those boys within that group. Another one along the way, Mr. Austin Kruger, former lefty attackman, Homestead High School, an absolute monster on the field, and is currently tearing it up for the University of Florida. Go Gators. Gainesville.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, of course. Timmy G, another 2024 hero for the Kettle Moraine Lasers. He was out at the University of Oregon playing some club ball on the West Coast. Timmy, thank you for coming on, brother.
No problem.
And then, of course, the unk of the group, last certainly not least, Mr. Aiden Wojciechowski, who is a current recent undergrad of Marquette University, currently involved in law school, former McGuanago alum, also was part of that 2021 class back at Muck, which was my very first year there for the Indians. Wojo, honor and a privilege, brother.
Glad to be here.
For some of you, you might see him, you will see him on the sideline this upcoming spring for the McGuanago Indians as we continue to do our very best to find a way to beat Kettle Moraine. But that being said, we are going to move on for the conversation. So, fellas, I'm going to let you guys kick this thing off. What are some things within the club lacrosse scene and sector that, people on this call or people watching this replay may be unfamiliar with, right? When it comes to the level of commitments, the level of competition, let's try and focus maybe on those variables first. We'll see where the combo goes.
I can go ahead and start if you want, but I think that Tim and I probably have a similar experience in competition, time commitment. I think Caleb probably has a little bit more. Wojo, I don't know about you, but we at Florida practice for about 30 hours a week. Not practice for about 30 hours a week, sorry, but we play for about 30 days a week. That's including travel, home games, away games. We usually practice 3 to 4 days a week. And then if we are traveling, it'll be a 2 to 3 day experience. I kind of look at club as a way to still play an intense part of lacrosse without having the extra baggage of still having a life in college. I would say your life is not D1 lacrosse, but or D3 lacrosse, but it is still a big part of it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think too, the competitiveness is something that I don't think a lot of people totally see, but I mean, the boys are getting after it. It's so much fun. I mean, it's just lacrosse at its purest form. I mean, everyone's just out there having a blast. They're having a great time. Everyone really, they chose it. They really want to be there. And I mean, the competition is great. I mean, you've got a ton of just really great athletes and a ton of coaches that just know the game really well, and they just want to share it at that level. And I mean, the competition is just always so much fun. I think that's one of the biggest things that I really enjoyed getting in there to do is you look at some of those NCAA teams or whatever, and, they're always out there competing and stuff. And I think, I mean, we scrimmage a bunch of, NCAA D3, D2 teams. And I mean, we're always out there just scrapping it up with them and just having a great time. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I've seen for sure.
I love that. How about you, Timmy?
I mean, yeah, to Austin's point, we have a pretty similar experience. We practice 5 days a week. In fall, we practice 3 days a week. So there's still a time commitment the entire year. And yeah, competition level, I think, goes over people's heads. You're going to play some really good teams with guys who had offers to go play D1, D2, D3, and there's be guys who transferred from those schools and be playing. So, the competition doesn't go down, it goes up, and you're going to be playing some really good teams.
100%. And now, of course, like I said, like every club program and opportunity is built a little bit differently. Like even speaking for myself, like I was a Marquette grad. I had the honor and privilege of playing for the club Marquette lacrosse team and the GLL, arguably the second best club conference in the country behind the MCLA. Not to toot its horn too much, but I mean, Wojo, you could speak on that time commitment a bit as well too.
Yeah, so definitely Marquette Lax is a little bit more lenient than that. I know when I was there, we would have practices twice a week, both in the winter and the spring, and then we would just have games on the weekends whenever we could schedule it, kind of just whenever we felt we wanted to take that load on and just kind of fit the schedule around whatever we as a team decided was best for us. In terms of the competition, like these guys have all said before, it was very, very competitive, and I think one of the beauties of college club is the fact that only the guys that really love this sport and really want to be here are the ones signing up to do this. So the guys that are still sticking around are ballers, they're studs. And I know for me, one of the things that really stood out was when we played some of these other GLL teams or other teams in the college club scene, some of them were even former D1 players. Like I remember we played Notre Dame and we were going against guys who were in grad school at Notre Dame who already used all of their Division I eligibility. So we got to go head to head with some former D1 athletes and just go scrap with them. And that was very fun.
100%. Always is. And I know another person on this conversation probably could shed a little more light on not just the opportunity to play with a former D1 guy, but an individual who's you get to currently see playing the PLL. Austin, layup for you?
Yeah, I actually watched with Dylan Hess him getting drafted to the PLL. And those Instagram videos will still be posted to this day of me looking like a fool in the background. But yeah, we had, I think, 12 D1 transfers on our team last year, along with Dylan Hess, who then went to the PLL and played 4 years at Georgetown. We currently have 6 D1, 3 D2, and 3 D3, 2 guys from Tufts. So, I mean, still, pretty good group of guys. We had 180 people try out at the beginning of the year for our team. And I think it just comes with being a 60,000 person school. I'm sure Oregon and even Liberty have the same way of Liberty does some recruiting, I believe. But Oregon and Florida host, I'm assuming a tryout, and it's absolutely packed.
Yeah. And I think that's an awesome segue into a fun, just shot from the hip topic, right? Like the tryout portion of this, like people don't necessarily understand that, okay, I'm going to go pursue a club opportunity and I'm just going to, pay my team fee. And now I have the opportunity to access everything and anything I can get under the sun. Like from a Marquette perspective, it was a little bit like that, but for the most part, no one's coming out and playing that hasn't played before or doesn't have that interest level too. But when it comes to, Tim and Caleb's experience, just like Austin's, that tryout picture is a hell of a lot different. So would you two mind going in a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can take it. From for Liberty's perspective, I mean, especially coming off the national championship win we had this last year, I mean, we had a ton of people coming out. Word got out about, all that stuff. So, I mean, there was a ton of guys out there. I mean, just it was a really great turnout for us. We do a lot of recruiting in the spring and the fall and stuff like that too. So we had this year we have 17 freshmen. We graduated a ton of guys from that last year's team. So we had a ton of freshmen out there that had kind of already received like their, spots. And then, we had a bunch of open room for the tryouts and stuff like that. And yeah, we had just a ton of guys out there scrapping. And then we had, the rest of the team out there playing. And it was just really great, all the guys out there for the tryout. And, some make it and some don't. But I mean, they just make it such like a fantastic experience just to, get out there and go play with the guys and just, have a good time.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Tim, how about tryouts for you?
Yeah, we also had around 150 people come out and try out this year. I'm not sure how you guys do it. I know for us, we actually all try out ourselves every year. So every player that was on the team the year before tries out again. And that's just to make sure that you always are going to have the best guys out there in the field. And it makes it challenging because it means when you come back to school in the fall that you need to be in the best shape you can be in to make that team every year. And there's no guaranteed spot for you. But it makes it competitive, very competitive.
100%, 100%. And like, not only is it, how do I say this? Regardless of the level of play that anyone from Wisconsin finds a way to being a part of, like, you still got to earn your keep, right? Like the ability to grow and develop and, you know, passion to pursue some of those extra reps, even if it's just like men's league once a week, or when you guys are home on winter break, hopping into a box practice or two. Like those things go such a long way. And maybe it's you just kind of chopping it up with some of the younger fellas and having fun burning a couple extra calories, like in between your holiday meals. But like at the end of the day, it's still work too, right? If anything, maybe it just makes it a little bit that more fun, knowing the opportunities that you guys have that you're clearly working for. So I think that's a good segue into this next segment. Let's talk a little more about some of those like really strong benefits when it comes to the club lacrosse option for families, right? So yes, there is a commitment, and you guys are, you know, treating these spring seasons like it is one that is answered for and seen at a collegiate level, right? But there are clearly some other added benefits to this that may not necessarily meet the eye for others, or, you know, people that are watching the replay of this call. So help me kind of talk a little bit more about how does this allow you guys to then experience a larger school atmosphere that some of these Division II, Division III programs don't necessarily get? Is there any sort of academic flexibility that you guys get as club athletes in what you're doing, or even, you know, flexibility when it comes to the studying abroad opportunities or campus involvement, right? Let's just kind of get a little bit more about the campus experience that you guys get the chance to take advantage of, on top of course, your lacrosse ones.
Caleb, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can kind of work on that. I mean, talking specifically for like the school side of things. So I'm a commercial aviation major here at Liberty, and it's a pretty challenging course. I got flight blocks every morning, 6 a.m. Getting up bright and early and flying in the morning. But I mean, the school does at Liberty just an incredible job at helping us out. Our club sports department, they help like pretty much almost fully fund us for a lot of things, and then they work with us on the academic side of things, so that our professors and the club sports guys, they work hand in hand. So when we're gone for like away games or we've got practice at this time, they send us letters. They send letters to our professors and let us know we're on the travel rosters and all this kind of stuff. And we also get priority scheduling at the university. So it goes NCAA athletes, and then right the day after, we get to club sports athletes get to schedule their classes. So especially like we've got a lot of guys on the team that are, you know, in the nurse industry and doctors and stuff like that, and they get to get all their classes kind of scheduled. So like academic wise, it's a huge help at Liberty. I mean, they help you set it up. We've got our own lacrosse academic advisor that we all, you know, go and sit with, and they do mandatory study hall for all the freshmen and stuff like that. Like they make academics just as much a priority as the lacrosse side of things. And then just also getting us involved in campus, like the club and the NCAA side, like there's really, they kind of blend those lines together. I mean, our women's lacrosse team is NCAA D1, and our fields are right next to each other, and we work hand in hand with them all the time. Just great relationships with them. And then even like our football team, last year, getting ready for the national championship, the women's team was hosting their ASUN conference championship at our fields. And so the football team let us use the football stadium, the away locker room, their indoor facility for like the whole week. I mean, we were just getting to use all their stuff, and just, I mean, they really like, they love us. They help us out as much as they can. Like the university and the whole, they just get us in, and then, you know, we help them on the backside too. We work, you know, concession stands at football games and basketball games. And, you know, when we, for our national championship, we got to walk out at halftime, and they did the whole thing for us. I mean, the school really just helps us out. They love us a lot, and, you know, they make the academics so easy, and just integrating with the campus stuff. It's a great time at Liberty for sure.
Man, that is so great. That is so great. And I know that like clearly Liberty's in candidly, like in a little bit of a different situation than other club programs when it comes to the commitment level they might see from the admission side and advancement side, that sort of stuff. But positives bound. Tim, Austin, Mojo, what do you guys think?
I can take over. I'll go ahead. Yeah. So I think the big thing for me when it came to club at Marquette was I was always a school first kind of guy, especially now that I'm at law school. I wanted to really go to a school that would help prepare me for that. And I think when you go on the club route, especially a program that's a little bit more lenient and maybe in a league like the GLL, we get the opportunity to select your school before your program or anything else like that. So I really had the choice to say, you know, out of all the schools in the nation that I want to go to, where do I think is the best fit for me academically? And to me, that just easily fell on Marquette. Plus, I know what was also really great about the school is just, I love the city of Milwaukee growing up in the area, but I had first choice of my city as well. This wasn't I I mean, obviously all of these guys who go on to play club just know they wanted to go play club or they wanted to keep playing lacrosse. And that wasn't necessarily my guiding decision in my academic career. So instead I got to pursue what I really wanted to do academically. And then the club scene gets to pick up the slack behind. And that way I still get all the freedoms that any other college student would get. I get the college experience that everyone talks about or wants to have. And I still get to play the sport I love.
100%, 100%. And, like the ability to have that level of not just convenience, right, but option. Like it's calculated opportunities that I can go and take advantage of. And it's not like I'm going to be penalized or pushed aside because I'm choosing to make what I was very clear on what my priorities were, my priorities, right?
Absolutely.
So everyone's trying to find that home that really kind of fits that best need for them too. Tim, Austin, what do you guys think?
I mean, yeah, I 100% agree. One of the big reasons why I came out to Oregon is because it was a school that I really wanted to attend. I liked the programs they had here. It checked all my boxes, and I was able to play club lacrosse. I think another advantage to being able to go to this big school and still play lacrosse is you don't face sort of some limitations that the NCAA puts on you. You're able to join a lot of other clubs on campus, Greek life. You're able to participate and, go to those games. I know we had a big football game on a Friday. We didn't have practice on that Friday. Our coach understands we're college students. We want to go to that game. Class-wise, if you have a final coming up, you need to study. You don't think you can make it to practice. Coaches get that. They're not going to hold that against you. School comes first. So I think there's a lot of advantages that you get, going to a big school, playing club, and there's that leniency.
100%.
Yeah, as Tim said, the flexibility. We went to the national championship this year for basketball, and for the Final Four, for the Elite Eight, we didn't have any practice, which was a blessing. We definitely don't get to have any advantages on scheduling, like Caleb, but our coaches email the professors, let them know that we have exams whenever we're traveling. So there is some leniency. I think that the camaraderie with the rest of the club sports at Florida is pretty insane. We do stuff with the D1 girls lacrosse program, the football guys, some of the basketball guys. Every once in a while, we'll have events or fundraisers or whatnot with them. But yeah, it's definitely not the same as what it would be if you were playing an actual NCAA team, but program. But it still does have its benefits, academically and socially.
100%, 100%. And, like, how do I say this? There are some opportunities that players would take advantage of where lacrosse may find itself on the higher end of that spectrum, even while they choose to pursue a club experience, right? Like there are plenty of coaches that are actively recruiting for guys to round out their grad class. And if anything, just give them an opportunity to have an honest conversation about what life is like at that school and why this might be a good fit for your needs and your goals and what you're looking towards, right? I know 3 of the 4 coaches or programs that are on this call actively do that. So some of those guys are going to be coming to you, but for the most part, this really ends up becoming a school first decision. And then the lacrosse component is a wonderful cherry on top. But if the lacrosse aspect becomes the cherry on top, clearly the rest of the Sunday is exactly what you're looking for, right? So if anything, it's only going to enhance that experience. Now, we're realistic, right? There's good and bad and indifferent to everything. So being at the club lacrosse scene and sector, there are definitely some challenges as well too. And I think that's a good segue into what we're going to talk about here next. So how is that structure a bit different from, a varsity sanctioned sport to the club experience? How much responsibility falls on your guys' shoulders when it clubs to being a part of and managing these club teams? Like, let's talk a little bit more about the funding component. Let's start getting into the weeds a little bit more about that experience.
Yeah, I am actually the events coordinator. I'm on the exec board for our team. I'm events coordinator and travel coordinator. And so there's 6 of us on the exec board, and it really falls on us to make a lot of decisions for the team. We have a president. Our coaches and captains kind of stay out of it quite a bit, and it's mostly player run. It is a great resume booster saying that, you've got this leadership role on a club team that you can advertised slyly as a men's lacrosse or men's varsity lacrosse at Florida, just because we don't have a D1 program. And it does actually benefit you, I guess, in any career that you're looking for outside of just playing lacrosse. But yeah, there's a lot of responsibility that falls on the guys on our team. I know the fundraising is pretty intense. We thankfully have a lot of really hopeful alums that do benefit us, whenever we're fundraising in the fall. But we do have to host our own events in order to gain, that extra bit of travel money. When we went to nationals last year, we had to gain a little bit more money just to make sure that we could pay for everybody's flights. But yeah, it's definitely different when you're paying. I think we pay $2,400 a year in dues, just for the team, and then you're supposed to raise about $1,000, $2,000 outside of just your dues from family members, on-campus events, whatnot, just to make sure that you can do everything that you want to do during the season.
Austin, do you have a travel story that you've had the chance to run into throughout the course of building out your spring schedule as the event coordinator?
Yeah, our bus driver accidentally went to the wrong location, the wrong parking garage on campus. And that's my job to make sure that that's in order. And we got there at 5:30 in the morning, traveling to Clemson, all of us at the parking garage, and the bus wasn't there until 6. And I only realized it wasn't there until 6 because he had typed in the wrong directions. And I'm pretty sure every single kid on the team pointed at me and was yelling at me at 5:30 in the morning. Yeah, it was pretty horrible, but it wasn't my fault. I said in the right directions. So
right. Did you end up getting where you had to go though on time? Like you didn't have to
we were totally fine. We were getting there. We were getting there with plenty of time to spare, which thankfully. But yeah, we were an hour late from when we were supposed to be. It was pretty rough.
Yeah, and you have an entire roster of boys that are breathing.
I had 45, 25 senior guys yelling at me, yelling at the sophomore, saying, "What the hell did you do wrong?"
God, I love that. Tim, how about you, man? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that Oregon experience.
Yeah, I mean, pretty similar. We have a officers team, 6 people, president, vice president, treasurer, communications, travel coordinator, and a social media manager.
Nice.
Pretty unique situation we're in with social media. We have just over 30,000 followers on Instagram. I work along with the social media team. I was actually doing a shoot earlier today. But like you said, it's very player run. I know that the treasurer handles a ledger of north of $300,000. And I mean, that's crazy real world experience. Great to put on a resume. Our officers have a lot of input on how the teams run, the culture of the team, along with captains and coaches. And so, yeah, I mean, very, very similar to what he said before.
100%. There's plenty of businesses that don't do $300K a year in revenue, let alone you guys being 19, 20, 21-year-old dudes in college getting a degree on top of also managing this type of experience. Tim, would you mind going a little bit more of the weeds on the social media front? Like clearly uncharted waters, having any lacrosse account that's finding its way north of 30K, let alone a club lacrosse organization in Oregon. So give me a little more weeds on that one.
Yeah, we'd spent a lot of time on it, and it's grown over the years. We've been able to get brand deals from that, which is really nice because that means that's less money out of our pocket for equipment and stuff. So we try really hard to, make promo videos, make sure we have the logos and, the background when we're playing. We do jersey reveals every week that we need to go take pictures, at those, post those. And it's a great way. I want to get into marketing, and I'm using this as a way to show that I know how to handle social media and market this team. And we make money off this. It's very important to our team. Funding is huge. So anywhere where you can save money is very important. And that's one of the ways we do it, is using that giant following that we've amassed.
100%. Now, just random question. How many kits does the University of Oregon men's lacrosse team get to take advantage of in a spring season?
I think right now we have 4 or 5 different jerseys. We try not to wear the same combo once a single season, one time done. So we try to follow in the footsteps of the football team there.
Dude, that's crazy. And that's so crazy. And then I'm assuming that like your guys' social media presence also helps play a very big role in that. It's not necessarily just like because are all your uniforms Nike or are they Powell or are they through somebody else?
All Nike, has to
Okay.
be Nike.
It has to be Nike. So then is that just a relationship through Nike? Through the campus?
I wish. The campus does like recommend that we get Nike uniforms through Club Sports. I don't think there's a single team that doesn't have Nike. I wish we had a one-on-one with Nike. We don't. We do have a one-on-one with Cascade and Maverick, which has been really great.
Sweet.
We have a deal with Celsius. We have a deal with local companies that sponsor us. So it's nice.
Outstanding. And there are, like I said, plenty of programs, not only at the club level, but the NCAA level that do not have that level or type of access. So kudos to you and the boys that are out there. All right, Caleb, your turn.
Yeah. So at Liberty, we've got a little bit of a different situation. We're super blessed at Liberty just to our club sports, what they do for us and just what the university does for us is really next level. They really they try and compete with the NCAA guys in terms of what they're putting up for production. So all of our funding is mostly taken care of by them in the university. Our player dues are $150. We show up, and that's just to kind of cover some of the small things. We've got 4 or 5 different jerseys actually, 3 different helmets, all kinds of stuff. We get all kinds of ridiculous equipment every year. I mean, they really take care of us so well, and we're so grateful and we're so thankful for that. And so we do a ton of volunteer work with the university to kind of say thank you for that, and we're always kind of helping them with that. So all of our travel and all that kind of stuff is done through our club sports travel. And then we have our team chaplain on the team. He does a lot of that stuff kind of behind the scenes and works it out, the Liberty University, they provide us buses for travel, and then for our airfare. We fund that a little bit. We have a club sports giving day that we kind of reach out to all family and friends and try and raise a certain amount to kind of help with some of the funding and some of the different things. We also have a deal with ESPN. So all of our home games are on ESPN Plus every week, which is incredible. And also a ton of teams come play us just to get on that ESPN. I mean, it's really a blessing. So, we get all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, the school at Liberty, they help us out so much that they really just, for us as players, they just, go do your job and do what you came to do and do the sport that you love. And they kind of take care of all that backside stuff. And then we just come with grateful attitudes, grateful hearts every day. And we're always there. We help volunteer, a ton of just different opportunities. They're always like, the men's lacrosse team is one of the teams that, everyone loves on campus because we're always just getting in there, helping volunteer and stuff like that, and just kind of showing our grateful attitude for how much of the blessing the school is and how much they really help us out with that. So
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I mean, clearly blessings on blessings, but it seems like you guys are taking full advantage of that and also finding ways to only give back to the other spaces and communities that do so as well. I'm going to go backwards a little bit because Woj, I want to hear from your end, like some of those things you've had the chance to write into financially, leadership role wise. 2 former presidents here. We love that. Strong lineage. Can we talk about the travel piece really quick? So how much travel are you like collectively as a group finding yourself taking on either in the fall with some of those scrimmages or especially when it comes to the spring season?
We stayed at 14 college campuses last year. So it's pretty intense. We were gone a lot. In fact, I'm leaving at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning to go to Atlanta for 3 days to go play Georgia Tech. And then over spring break, every other year we'll go fly somewhere. So this year we're going to Denver to play Boulder and Colorado. But yeah, it was, I think I averaged it out for my resume, but I was spending on average 45 hours a week for lacrosse. And that includes, 3-hour practices, 3 days a week, plus, the 60 hours of traveling you'll do, or 72 hours of traveling you'll do on those travel weekends. But we tried to fit in, we'd go to Texas and then immediately bus right to Georgia. And we did a couple of those weekends last year. This year was a little bit lighter on travel, but next year should be even heavier than the first year. So it's a big time commitment on the weekends, but it is fun going to all those schools.
Which is also still crazy to me because I would assume being in Florida, you would just have so many teams be willing to try and come to you all the time.
Yes, that's what happened this year. So
Okay.
we had so many guys after the whole Dylan Hess situation that we have some really good competition coming. And so we didn't have to travel as much. Whereas last year we were really making an effort to go play the best of the best.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, Tim, I'm assuming you have the honor and privilege of being able to bus out to Georgia and Florida and Texas whenever you want, right?
All the time, all the time.
Really saves on some costs. How about you? What's the travel picture look like for you boys?
It's a little bit different. Obviously, we're out in Eugene. We're far from a lot of other MCLA teams. So a lot of time, I think we take roughly 2 flights a year to go. This year was Utah. Didn't go great, but then we're also flying up to Vancouver. And when we fly places, we try to play 2 to 3 teams a weekend.
Mhm.
And we'll also have around 3 bus trips and a van trip. So we're all over the place, going down to California, Idaho, Washington, flying to Colorado, flying wherever we might play teams. Our conference is iffy, and we want to try to get to nationals. So we go and we fly to play better teams.
Mhm.
Last year we only had 3 home games, which was
That's
hard. This year we have more. So the travel commitment is definitely something. You're gonna expect a few times to be gone for 3-4 days at a time. You might miss your Friday class, your Monday class. Make sure to communicate with your professors. Make sure they know that you're not going to be there. They're very understanding of that. Like most professors understand club sports, you're going to have to travel. But yeah, a lot of time traveling.
Gotcha. Who do you have at home this year?
Oh, we have TCU this weekend, and then we have Sonoma State and can't remember the other team we're playing before spring break. And then I think most of our other games are gonna be away this year.
And I could only imagine like what that line item would look like in your guys' budget as a team, regardless. I mean, if you're always finding ways to have to bus or fly to where you got to go play, like clearly that doesn't just get paid for by itself too. So,
Nope.
Once again, you love it, you find a way, right? Caleb, how about you? What's that travel picture look like?
Yeah, so kind of like I mentioned before with that ESPN deal and just, how great our facilities are. A lot of teams are really coming up to us to play. I mean, we're hosting Florida State on Sunday, got those guys busting up. And with us being so close to Virginia Tech, a lot of teams kind of actually schedule us and Virginia Tech on the same weekend. They kind of make a weekend deal out of it. So we just hosted UConn 2 weekends ago, and they came down from Connecticut, played Tech on Friday night, and then played us on Saturday. So and then Lynchburg, Virginia, we're right in the middle of it. And with our conference play, they want us to play all the teams in our conference this year. So almost all of our games are really local. So our only away games this year, we went down to North Carolina. UNC played Chapel Hill down there. So that was a 4-hour bus ride. And then all of our away games, we got Virginia Tech, James Madison. So those are all in state. And then our one overnight this year is actually going to be out in Kentucky. Should be about a 7-hour trip for us. So it'll be our one overnight this year. Last year we had a couple overnights, and then we're also pretty lucky too because the national tournament is in Richmond, and then our conference championship we're actually hosting at Liberty. So we really don't travel too much. It's pretty great. They like to keep it around pretty local. But when we do travel, the school buses and stuff like that, they give us all the buses have Wi-Fi and everything like that. So guys are just cranking homework out. So if you miss a day of class, guys can still go virtual and they're doing their homework and stuff like that and putting us up in hotels. I mean, they do a great job with the travel, but it is definitely nice to be sleeping in your own bed for most of the games. For
No doubt. And especially with the facilities you guys have, like I don't blame anybody going to you to play you either.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about you, Woj? Let's
Yeah.
talk a little more about the GLL life here. What are some
Oh, boy.
what are some of those headaches and hurdles that we've dealt with, and what's that travel picture really look like for you?
Yeah, so beauty of the GLL as well as being at a Marquette club is, like you said before, I was the president, but I was also the treasurer of the club who was entrusted the bank account as a 19-year-old. And the role of the treasurer is to collect all the dues. So I essentially had to put bounties out on all the teammates' heads and make sure I could go actually get their dues so we could pay our league fees or we could do anything else on campus. Because as a club, we actually didn't get any funding from the school. Everything we did was strictly out of pocket for us. So our dues ended up being about $500 a year, but that would cover everything for the whole year. It would get us some uniforms. It would pay for our social events. We would have a formal at the end of every single season where we would go buy a DJ, rent out a space at like a bar or a restaurant downtown, and all of that would be covered already just off of your dues. And then we had our league fees. So GLL, obviously up here in always sunny Wisconsin, and in the spring and fall, it's wonderful weather, but Marquette luckily has a nice dome and one of really the only indoor turfs in the area. So being at Marquette, I was responsible for communicating with the league as well as communicating with the school and scheduling all the field times and finding out when other schools would be available to come up to Milwaukee and come play at the turf. And that was always a fun challenge, having to correspond back and forth between the league and back with the school and checking what the Division I athletics have going on, and eventually finding those couple of weekends where people can come play. Because the GLL, game times and scheduling pretty much ran through Marquette. So
Well,
I think as a travel component, that was very, very nice for us. We got to wake up and have a team breakfast and then just take campus shuttles or just drive the couple of blocks down to the field. But that was wonderful. Or in other terms of travel, we sometimes would schedule a couple of trips. I know in the GLL, you get to kind of have a little bit of a say where you want to play. And I know, like I said, a couple of years ago, we got to go out to South Bend and play Notre Dame. And that was also run entirely by me and the president at that time, because I had the bank account. But we had to plan the hotels, we had to plan travel, and we had to set up who got to drive. And we all just carpooled to drive out there. We didn't have the buses or the flights. It was just good old-fashioned road trip down to South Bend. But I think some of the fun of that is being able to have such like a large leadership role. I know being the president there as well as being the treasurer, I had a very large say in what it was like being on that team and what we wanted to do, what we wanted to prioritize. So yeah, I obviously had the headaches when I'm collecting dues or scheduling or trying to just come up with uniform designs that we as an e-board like. But I think all the while, that's what makes kind of the club experience special, because when you get to actually have your hands in something like that, it's really fun to make the team something your own.
100%. And, it really just comes down to what you guys are willing to take on, like the commitment level of an MCLA program, as you guys are probably telling on this call so far, can be vastly different comparatively to other club leagues. And there are layers and levels to this as well, too. Like there are several different conferences of club ball that are out in the Northeast and all the way up in upstate that just consistently find ways to play each other. And then compete for their own separate league. And then there's the NCLL, which is another club league that's built mainly within the Midwest that UW-Madison is a part of now. And they've taken on more in regards to further trips, either going out west or going out east. Like I know that they're also working on nailing down a trip that's going out to Colorado. And this past fall, I think they actually winter, they went down to Florida as well, too.
I went to Florida this fall. Yeah.
Yeah. Did they play you guys?
No, they didn't, but they played Miami. I think they played
That's right. There was a Miami trip.
USF. They put a couple other teams on there.
Yeah. So once again, like there are options abound. And making sure that you're just choosing to make that best decision for you, knowing that you're going to have lacrosse and an experience that you're also going to love, still needs to be the primary focus in your direction. So as we transition into some of our final topics today, right? And I think this is a big one that we could spend a little bit of time on here, right? Because we've got guys that are currently juniors or, sophomores that are really just kind of getting started with their process, building out their target list of schools, figuring out the types of campuses they want to go visit. For the most part, MCLA and other programs that have a club-based option aren't really making their way onto their radar early. So I'd like to transition into that next topic. Like for you guys, maybe it's even going into your own recruiting process, the efforts and energies that you've put into trying to find that future home and what ultimately made you end up where you are today. And are there any regrets? Do you love the decision that you made? Do you ever find yourself asking what if for whatever reason that you may have? Let's get into the weeds of that one a little bit.
Yeah, I could start out here a little bit. Yeah, with Liberty. Yeah. So, I mean, what initially drew me to Liberty, well, first of all, the coaches reached out to me my sophomore year. And initially I was I was hard set on the NCAA stuff and just, making that my route and making that my life and just the lacrosse side of things. And so I kind of pushed them off a little bit. I was like, I took the phone call with the coach and I was like, it sounds great. It's club lacrosse. Doesn't sound like it's for me. I want something a little more, competitive. I want that NCAA lifestyle and, just going throughout all the recruiting process and stuff. And then, being a pilot is what I'm working to do. And so, with the schooling side of things, they really narrowed it down to only a few schools that had aviation that is a major, and the time commitment that flying it and doing all those flight blocks outside of school, and then also your in-person classes, it's immense. And I think going through the recruiting process, I kind of learned like it was either going to be playing lacrosse or it was going to be flying. And I kind of had to pick, which one. And I was like, well, I guess if I go, some of these other schools, I'm just gonna have to take a business major, maybe try and do the flying outside of things. And then I kind of, look back into lacrosse and or a bit look back into the club side of things. And I was like, man, I can really do both here. Like they prioritize school, but they also like looking into the club stuff. It's actually like way more competitive than I had thought. And so I really, gave it a look and an effort. And I was like, yeah, it's either play lacrosse or, fly. And here at Liberty, I can do both. And I was like, this has got to be it. And went and toured, and I saw how much the school, how much they worked with you, and just the facilities with the aviation side of things. I mean, Liberty is one of the top aviation schools in the country. And then, with the lacrosse side of things, just all the facilities that they have and all the resources and everything like that. I was like, this is exactly what I was hoping for like kind of like the NCAA side of things, but also exactly what I was looking for in terms of the academic side of things. So, with all the club lacrosse side, like the stigma of, oh, it's not that competitive, and you're going to club lacrosse, it's not as good as the NCAA stuff. I mean, it's set my life up incredibly differently than however it would have went going to NCAA and kind of putting the aviation stuff to the side. I just actually yesterday I passed my multi-engine check ride for that, so I'm a commercial pilot now and multi-engine certified. So I'm flying the twin propellers now, and I'm only 19 years old. And for if I would have went to those NCAA schools and wouldn't have been able to prioritize my time doing that as well, I mean, I would have been years behind to where I'm at now. So I think it was by far one of the best decisions I made for myself in terms of my future, setting up what I want to do for my job and my career and my future, but also too just playing that lacrosse, playing that, like more, NCAA lifestyle lacrosse that I was, working at and trying to get to. And so, I mean, I think it was just the best decision for me all around. So.
Awesome. I'm sure you weren't ready for this one either though, Caleb, but shout out the Buckeye Spikes.
Yes.
Shout out the Buckeye Spikes.
Yeah.
But still, dude, like iron sharpens iron. You put in the work, and you didn't necessarily end up exactly in the place you imagined, but clearly looking back on it, I don't think you regret a single second.
Absolutely not. No, I mean, I think about where I would have been if I would have went to, any of those schools and, tried to get some of those walk-on opportunities, or even taken some of the offers at some of the other schools that were, really enticing, like going to Salisbury and playing there. And, I wouldn't have, I've been so far from any of my aviation stuff, getting a business degree that, probably wouldn't have helped me, in any of the aviation stuff I would have wanted to do. I'd have been playing great lacrosse, but, when I graduated 4 years in a business degree, I'd have been, like, well, I guess maybe my life would have changed a little bit. So, I just, incredibly happy with, the decision I made and how it turned out for that. So.
All love. Heart's happy for you too, dude. Heart's happy for you too. I still had to say, like, leading up to the conversation today, I was like, man, does he even remember that time of his life? Because it probably felt like so long ago. To me, it felt like it was yesterday.
Exactly. Yeah.
How about you, fellas?
I was going through recruitment. I was always looking for a better school academically than I could get in academically. That was always my goal with recruiting. And so I was looking at mostly the NESCAC schools and MIT. And after touring, no, I didn't get an MIT. That whole recruitment process is pretty tough. I do know a couple of guys that did get in. They probably had a slightly better ACT score than me, but they love it there right now. But the process of getting in is grueling. But I did have a full offer from Amherst. And I went up to tour and I realized, wow, I don't want to be at a 2,400 person school. And so my ultimate, following decision was to look at where I got in academically, and my best one was Florida. And so it was just kind of the perfect fit. But it's really a whole decision on, where can you see yourself? And if lacrosse is what you love, then you can see yourself anywhere by doing lacrosse. But if lacrosse is just one of those things that you enjoy doing, you don't want it to make it your whole 4-year college career, then pick the school that you can see yourself at the most. And then go play club sports. I know most of the SEC has great academics, getting even better. Texas has one of the top lacrosse club programs right now. And that is an outstanding school. But yeah, going to a top 25 school and still playing a sport that I love is like the most perfect opportunity that I think I could have.
And no regrets from your end, of course, either. No what
No,
ifs.
none, zero. Besides going to MIT would have been pretty cool, but I think I would have failed out within the first semester. So it's probably
Oh,
the
give
right
yourself more credit. Give yourself
decision.
more credit. But yeah, that's an absolute beast, right? And the big thing that I know with the 27s and 8s listening to the call or on it right now, we talk about campus feel and campus identity a ton. And it's really hard to formulate your opinion on them until you actually get boots on the ground in order to figure that out, right? Like my big thing is like every time I hear and I don't know in my brain, a little red flag should pop up and say, well, that's probably something you should consider. Or, oh, I'll go play anywhere. It's like, sure, you'll play anywhere, but are you ready to go to school anywhere with everything that falls along with it? So, clearly, Austin, back to your story, pure testament of having an incredible opportunity, one that is going to push you and challenge you academically and athletically. And all it took was the visit for you to say, I can't see myself going to a place like this. Like I can't see, sophomore me really looking forward to everything else I have to take advantage of. And what's the point of taking advantage of an opportunity if they aren't meeting your non-negotiables, right? Timmy, what about you?
I mean, I was going to go into just about exactly what you just said. For me, when I was looking at school, I was really wanting to experience something new, something different. And I was talking to a lot of NCAA teams, and I was looking at the schools, and I was just thinking, like, I can't see myself there. Like, I don't know if I can go there just for lacrosse. And I always was interested in the West Coast, and my mom was like, "Hey, Oregon, just apply to it. Like, you don't have, doesn't matter, just try it." And I was like, "Okay, I will." Like, you want to go visit? I was like, "I don't know, Mom." We went out to visit. I stepped on campus, and I was like, "Wow, this is the place. Like, I love it. I love it here. I want to go here. This is amazing." And like, it met everything I wanted academically, location, lacrosse, everything. And I came here, joined the lacrosse team. It's been amazing. I mean, lifelong friends immediately. I've been able to take advantage of opportunities that I never even saw myself doing in college, and absolutely no regrets. And most of it was because the school fit me first, and then everything followed.
100%. Also, of course, shout out Candace, Queen. Shout out.
Candace.
That's awesome. And for some people, that is what that experience is like. Like you set foot on that one campus, and it's a swan song. Like it's just, it is screaming at you the minute that you show up there. Not making it about me, but that's how I felt about Marquette. Like I said no to a handful of Division I opportunities through my recruiting process because I wanted to find a school that was right in an urban setting, like damn near in the heart of a downtown type feel, right around 8,000 to 10,000 students. Cause no offense to the Oregon, Florida boys, a little bit too big for me. I would have got lost in the sauce for sure. So it checked off those non-negotiable boxes for me where I knew if something didn't work out the way that it intended, aka my varsity experience didn't pan out the way that it did, I had the club experience and I was still able to take advantage of everything else on campus and still, fall in love with those other variables that I initially fell in love with already. So Wojo, not trying to steal your thunder or take anything away from you, brother, but it seems like it was kind of a similar boat for you on your end.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys nailed all the points. And I do want to go back to your expression you said a little earlier. I love the idea that you make your own Sunday, you pick whatever you like, and then lacrosse is just kind of that cherry on top. And I think that really sums up the beauty of club lacrosse. I feel like one of the biggest horror stories I hear about people who like go NCAA and really stick to the idea that they really just wanted to play lacrosse in college and that was their main priority is they do end up finding out like a little bit into their experience that, that school just wasn't really a fit for them. And then I've talked to multiple people who ended up trying to transfer out and struggling to then find, well, where's my next opportunity? Or they just dip out of college altogether. And I think that's really, really a tragic thing when in reality, if you can just start out looking for the school that you love or go find that home and that place that really does speak to you, lacrosse will be there either way. And if you set your sights first on the things that those non-negotiables, all the things that really matter for you, you can still always find time, even if club isn't an option there. There's still opportunities in the area, whether it is like a men's league or it is just hitting wall ball, finding some people on campus who do play. Like lacrosse will always be there no matter what you do. I think the beauty of college is just finding, like you said, that home. Where's that place that really speaks to you and continuing to just keep the game you love as part of your experience.
100%. And I don't want to steal any of Jack Black's thunder here, School Rock reference, but like those who can't do, teach, those who can't teach gym. Like if you can't find a way to play, you can find a way to coach. You could find a way to get involved with your game, regardless whatever community you find yourself within. The game is going to find you if you're willing to let it. Clearly, for anyone that's felt attracted or attached to this game, there is a weird gravitational pull it has for you, only to continue to find ways to be a part of it, especially when you your playing days are over. You feel like you got to kind of let it go. Just like my man Wojo here has only found a way right back onto the sideline here for the Muck Boys. 2020.
I mean, I coached for 3 of my 4 years of undergrad. I started back up my sophomore year, and then junior, senior year, I was a varsity coaching varsity high school lacrosse.
1,000%. And for those that want that path and journey, it's there for you. But clearly take advantage of all the playing experience and opportunities that you can, which I think is going to lead us to a really great way to end this call, fellas. If there was like one piece of advice that you can give your old self, or the one piece of advice that you can give to the Wisconsin boys that are listening to this call right now, or the ones that are going to be watching the replay later, what is that one big piece of advice you'd love to give them?
I mean, I can kind of start out just what we were just talking about and, just getting onto campus. I mean, Billy, I think you remember this, like me and my dad, we probably visited like 60, 70 schools. I mean, from Ohio State down to some of the lowest schools you've ever, like, 1,000 kids go, like just crazy stuff. I mean, every single tournament that we went to for club, we just looked at what colleges were in the area. We made a list and, places that we thought were cool, places that we didn't think. I mean, we were seeing, just all kinds of different campuses and stuff like that, and just actually going there and just walking around. I mean, we made it a goal to get on to every single lacrosse field of every school that we did. And we did. I mean, shockingly, it was hard. We got into Air Force Academy. We did get kicked out by some that we accidentally walked in on I think it was like a 2-star general graduation ceremony, but we did touch the grass. We did get kicked out, but it was a nice, friendly, just leave. But, so I think like one of the biggest things that I would say, and one of the biggest advice is just like when you get out to these different places, especially, with the great opportunities that, all the travel and stuff like that, even on like a family vacation, just getting to these schools and just seeing what they're really like in person. I mean, you can look at 100 pictures online, but when you get there and you see what it's like and you just imagine walking around the campus and just seeing that, I think that's like one of the biggest things that really helped me narrow down my college, choices and where I wanted to go is just actually getting there, actually, seeing, especially too, when school's in session, you get to see, all the people walking around and what the vibe is like on campus. And so just really like, making an effort to go there and actually see the schools and, talk to the coaches and just, really like insert yourself into those places and, see what it's like. I mean, I think it just helped me just really, laser focus where I wanted to go to school, and it helped me, make the right decision in the end of the day.
100%. Shout out Colorado Springs security team as well too. That is crazy.
Yes.
I did not hear the until right now, but that was perfect.
Yes. Yeah. It was great.
I guess I would just say it's a lot cooler to enjoy where you go to school than to have that committed Instagram post.
Yes.
It doesn't matter, with the fancy graphics in the background, if you're going to go to a school that you just aren't going to enjoy. It would have been really sweet to have a MIT or Amherst post back in the day, but looking back at it, thank God I wasn't chasing for, that dopamine of other people saying, congrats, like, so cool you committed, so cool you're going to this NCAA D3 school. But it's a lot better to be basking in 86-degree weather at a school that I love. It's really sweet.
Yeah, and clearly it worked out, brother, right? Like, you got to make the decision for you. Anything you do for anybody else, especially when it comes to this position, especially when it comes to what we're talking about, it's only going to end poorly or end in a way that it didn't necessarily have to, for sure.
I'll say explore all your options. Explore everything, no matter how confident you are that's the right fit for you. Look into everything. And 2, for those that are a little intimidated by the fact that you have to step on campus and then try out for the team in order to be a part of it, you can reach out to coaches and teams beforehand and ask them what the team's like, what does the week look like? What will this entail being a part of this team? And they'll love to talk to you about it. No different than if you're reaching out to NCAA coaches and asking them about their program and wanting to be a part of it. Same thing. Ask questions, look into everything.
Love it. Check all your boxes, right? Like you're only going to thank yourself for putting in the work to make sure you're making the right decision. It's those that you choose to rush into and you don't take the time that's necessary to feel confident about the decision you're going to make. So could not agree more with you, Tim.
Yeah, tying right
All right,
into
we'll bring
Tim.
us home.
Tying right into Tim, I would say biggest piece of advice I could say is just find your path and commit your whole self to it. There's no correct, there's no wrong answer. If you have Division 1 offers, you have Division 3 offers, you don't have to take whatever the highest thing is. You don't have to follow what your friends are doing or what anybody else told you should be doing. You just need to find what works best for you, what you really think you want to do, and then just trust your gut. And when you do it, commit your whole self to it, and then you'll find yourself enjoying it.
It's amazing how much easier life gets when you just choose to go at it like you don't have a second option. Like just go 100% at the thing that you're choosing to do. Focus on the windshield. Don't focus on the rearview mirror and go attack whatever your goals and dreams are. Oh my goodness. What a segue to end that conversation. For everyone that was on the call, thank you so much for being a part of it. For those that are watching, thank you for taking the time to learn a little bit more about that club experience from some of Wisconsin's finest. This is the final player panel series call, but candidly, I've had so much fun doing these that I know it's not going to be the last. So just be on the lookout for anything more that comes your way soon. Other than that, have a great rest of your start to your spring season. For the rest of the boys that are on the call, best luck for the rest of yours. And we'll catch up with all you guys soon. Peace. Fellas, stick around. Wait. Stop recording.